How to read anyone instantly. Machiavelli's 14 psychological tactics. You don't need to speak. The room has already made its move. A glance. Casual, but calculated. A pause, just long enough to mean something. They're reading you before you even know you're being studied. Every breath, every tilt of your head, every silence is being measured like code. In every room, power is being quietly distributed. No one says it out loud, but everyone is scanning. Who matters here? Who doesn't? Some people do it for protection, some for advantage. But a rare few, they do it as a strategy. They don't just see you, they decode you, not to understand, not to judge, but to use. Because in the right hands, information isn't knowledge, it's silent power. And the game doesn't start when you speak. It starts the second you enter the frame. The real question isn't, are they watching me? It's, do I even know what I've already shown? Tactic 1. Watch how they treat the unseen. A person's true character isn't measured by how they treat you when they think you're important. It's revealed in how they act toward those who hold no power at all. That's the real test. Because with you, they might be performing. They're aware of your status, your value, your potential to benefit them. But when they believe someone is beneath their notice, that's when the mask slips. So don't waste your time watching how they act with peers or bosses. Look behind the curtain. Watch how they speak to the barista who gets their coffee order wrong, the intern who fumbles through a presentation, or the elderly person taking too long in line. Do they respond with grace or impatience? Do they offer a smile or silence laced with contempt? If they show kindness when there's no reward, that's real integrity. But if they turn cold, sharp, or passive-aggressive, it's not a mood, it's who they are. And one day, when you're no longer useful, they'll treat you the same. Watch closely before it's your turn. Tactic 2. Say less. Silence is one of the sharpest tools in reading people. Not because it's empty, but because it creates tension. When conversation stops, most people feel an urgent need to fill the gap. And that's when they slip. They don't talk to connect. They talk to distract, to defend, to cover what they fear might be seen. So instead of rushing to speak, stay quiet. Let the silence linger just a second longer than what feels comfortable. Wait, and watch. You'll notice their posture shift, their tone crack. Their words become less rehearsed. Maybe they overshare. Maybe they try to impress. Maybe they stumble into revealing something they weren't ready to say. For example, in a negotiation, remain still after they finish speaking. In a vulnerable conversation, just listen. No advice, no nods. What you'll see is how their mind works under pressure. Do they seek approval? Do they get defensive? Or do they remain composed? In silence, the truth doesn't vanish. It rises to the surface. Tactic 3. Offer nothing. The fastest way to uncover someone's intentions is to give them nothing. No compliments, no validation, no emotional reward, just your neutral presence. Because when there's nothing to win, people stop performing and start revealing. This is how you see what they're truly after. Instead of trying to impress or win them over, pull back. Stay polite, but detached. Don't initiate conversation. Don't offer laughter or attention. Just let them sit in the absence of benefit. In a social setting, this might look like not reacting to their charm. In a relationship, it could mean withholding the praise they're used to. What happens next is the truth. Do they withdraw and become distant? That means their warmth was transactional. Do they suddenly try harder, cracking jokes, oversharing, leaning in? They're approval dependent. But if they remain centered, unbothered by the lack of response, you've found someone with self-control, and possibly with power, because only those who don't need attention are the ones most used to having it. Tactic 4. Break the script. Some people don't speak, they perform. Every smile, every compliment, every story is part of a rehearsed script designed to manage how you see them. It's charm on autopilot. To uncover what's real, you have to interrupt an act, disrupt their rhythm, break the flow. Don't laugh at the joke they always use. Respond to the compliment with quiet curiosity instead of gratitude. Change the topic just as they're building momentum. In a date, this might mean going silent when they try to impress you. In a meeting, it could be questioning the convenient vulnerability they just shared. Watch closely. Do they hesitate, stumble, shift tone? Do their eyes flicker, their energy drop? That pause, that flash of discomfort, is the crack in the armor. Most people only know how to behave when the script runs smoothly. But when it breaks, so does the performance. And in that unscripted moment, the person behind the act finally steps forward, unguarded, unrehearsed, and unmistakably real. Tactic 5. Deny something small. Loyalty isn't proven through agreement. It's revealed in denial. Saying no to something small is one of the simplest ways to test a person's true emotional wiring. When people expect compliance, even in minor things, they reveal their entitlement when it's denied. So give a gentle refusal. Decline a small favor. Say no to a request they assumed would be a yes. You don't need to be harsh, just firm and calm. In a friendship, it might be as simple as not dropping everything to help. In a workplace, it could be pushing back on a last-minute demand. Then watch. Do they remain respectful, understanding your boundaries? That's someone with maturity. Do they grow cold, distant, or sarcastic? That's a fragile ego reacting to loss of control. Or worse, do they gossip, criticize, or guilt trip? That's a performance falling apart. Rejection, even small, is a mirror. And what cracks in that mirror shows you everything they were trying to hide behind politeness. Tactic 6. Track their eyes. The eyes reveal what the words try to hide. While people can craft what they say, their gaze often betrays what truly holds their attention. If you want to know what someone values, don't listen to them. Watch where they look. In conversation, let your focus shift from their voice to their eyes. Are they fully present with you, or scanning the room for someone more interesting, more powerful, more useful? In a group setting, this is especially telling. Maybe you're talking, but their eyes keep darting toward the executive across the table or the most attractive person nearby. Maybe they check their phone when you speak, but light up when someone else enters the room. That's not random, it's prioritization. Their gaze tells you exactly who they want approval from, who they fear, or who they hope to impress. Words might flatter you, but the eyes, they tell you whether you're central to their attention or just background noise in their pursuit of something better. Tactic 7. Share a fake flaw. One of the safest ways to test someone's intentions is to share a flaw that isn't real. Not a deep secret, just a soft detail that feels personal, but costs you nothing. This tactic works because it mimics vulnerability without actually exposing you. Say something like, "I have a habit of trusting people too quickly," or "I tend to avoid conflict even when I shouldn't." Then pause. Let them respond without leading them. In a conversation, this could happen over coffee, during a casual check-in, or even in a negotiation. Watch their reaction closely. Do they file it away like a tool they'll use later? Do they offer unsolicited advice, subtly placing themselves above you? Or do they share something real in return, creating mutual vulnerability? Their response is a map of how they process perceived weakness, and since your flaw was fictional, you lose nothing, except the illusion that they were safe. Because what they do with your false flaw is exactly what they'll do with your real ones. Tactic 8. Make them wait. Entitlement hides well in comfort, but crumbles under delay. One of the cleanest ways to expose someone's ego is to make them wait. Not out of disrespect, but as a diagnostic. Time pressure reveals what charm often conceals. So stretch the space. Don't rush to reply to their messages. Be non-committal with scheduling. Let a meeting start a few minutes late, or take your time before returning a call. This doesn't need to be cruel, just intentional. In everyday life, that might look like pausing before confirming a plan, or not reacting instantly to a request. Then observe. Do they stay steady, understanding that others have boundaries too? That's composure. Or do they become passive-aggressive, impatient, or cold? That's entitlement flaring up. People who believe the world should bend to their timing often show their truest selves when forced to wait. In delay, the mask of politeness slips, and what's underneath is either emotional maturity or a ticking ego waiting to explode. Tactic 9. See who they copy. People rarely present themselves as they are. They present a version modeled after someone they admire. Mimicry isn't just flattery, it's a blueprint of who they're trying to become. If you want to understand a person's ambitions, study their influences. Listen for the names they drop, the quotes they repeat, the styles they imitate. It could be the way they dress like a tech CEO, speak with the cadence of a motivational speaker, or moralize like a public activist. In casual conversation, ask, "Who inspires you?" or "Who do you look up to?" Then pay attention, not just to the name, but to the type. Is it someone powerful? They crave dominance. Someone popular? They seek approval. Someone virtuous? They want moral authority. Their chosen role model is more than admiration. It's aspiration. And once you see who they copy, you don't just understand where they are. You understand where they're trying to go and who they're willing to become to get there. Tactic 10. Trigger envy. Envy doesn't always announce itself with harsh words. It often slips in quietly through micro-reactions and subtle withdrawals. If you want to detect it, trigger it gently. Bring up a recent success, a compliment you received, a lucky opportunity, or a small personal win. Nothing boastful, just enough to shift the spotlight toward you. Then watch, not what they say, but what their body does. Does their smile tighten just slightly? Do their eyes glance away, even for a second? Do they immediately change the subject or downplay what you shared with a joke or a backhanded remark? These aren't signs of disinterest. They're the early tremors of envy. You can test this in casual conversation. Mention a raise, praise from someone they respect, or a door that opened for you unexpectedly. If they can't celebrate it, they're quietly competing with it. And in most human dynamics, envy doesn't stay passive for long. It builds, and eventually, it sabotages. Softly, strategically, and often behind your back. Tactic 11. Ask what they hate. What people claim to hate often says more about themselves than those they criticize. Disgust is a mirror, one that reflects their suppressed traits, fears, or past shames. To uncover this, ask a simple question. What kind of people frustrate you the most? Let them speak freely. Don't interrupt. Their response won't just describe others, it will indirectly reveal the parts of themselves they're uncomfortable with. Someone who rants about arrogance may be fighting their own need to feel superior. Someone who detests liars might be a master at bending the truth. Someone who can't stand weakness might secretly fear being seen as soft or vulnerable. In conversation, you can casually frame this during a discussion about workplace dynamics or social media. Pay close attention to the intensity of their response. Strong emotion is a signal, because in judgment, people aren't just pointing fingers. They're often projecting, and once you understand that, you'll stop asking what they hate and start asking why it bothers them so much. Tactic 12. Watch the eyes drop. The eyes don't just reveal truth, they run from it. When a topic strikes close to someone's hidden fear or shame, the first thing to flinch isn't their words, it's their gaze. This makes eye movement a powerful signal when you're navigating emotionally charged conversations. To test it, casually bring up sensitive topics: money, insecurity, past failures, status, power dynamics. Watch what happens in the seconds that follow. Do their eyes hold steady, or do they flick away, down or to the side? That split-second reaction isn't random, it's instinctual. In a group setting, mention someone's success or a topic related to status and watch who avoids looking up. In a one-on-one, reference a past mistake or ask about their relationship with money and track the gaze. The moment their eyes drop or shift away is the moment you've hit something real. Because eyes don't always open a window into the soul. Sometimes they show you exactly where the soul doesn't want you to look. Tactic 13. Become their mirror. People are most reactive not when you confront them, but when you reflect them. Mirroring is a subtle psychological tactic that reveals how someone truly relates to themselves. It works because it bypasses logic and speaks directly to the unconscious. To use it, quietly reflect their tone of voice, their body posture, even the pace of their speech. Don't mimic them exactly. Keep it gentle and natural, just enough to create resonance. You can try this in conversation by sitting the way they sit, matching their level of energy, or repeating a phrase they've just used. Then observe. Do they become warmer, sensing a connection? Do they pull back, uncertain how to handle the reflection? Do they shift into dominance, as if needing to reassert control? Their reaction to themselves, through you, shows how much of their persona is real and how much is performance. Because people aren't always afraid of you seeing them. Sometimes they're terrified of seeing themselves. And you, as their mirror, make that fear impossible to avoid. Tactic 14. Disarm with respect. When people expect judgment, they armor up. But when they feel respected, they lower their guard. And that's when the truth escapes. Disarming with respect is about offering just enough admiration to create safety, then slipping in a question that cuts deeper than they expect. Start by praising something genuine, their composure, intellect, resilience, or presence. This creates psychological safety. Then, with warmth still in the air, deliver a question that gently confronts the performance. For example, "You always seem calm under pressure. Was that learned or built from something painful?" Or, "You come across as so confident. Did that come naturally, or is it your best disguise?" These questions work because they blend sincerity with subtle challenge. What you're looking for is hesitation, a pause, a flicker of vulnerability. If they lean in, they're open. If they deflect or joke, they're hiding. This is the art of the soft glove and sharp blade. Lead with admiration, but use it to open the door to something real. Strategic shift. Don't just read them. Use the read. Reading people is only the first half of the equation. What matters more is what you do with what you've seen. Once you understand someone's hidden fears, desires, or insecurities, you're holding quiet leverage, not to manipulate destructively, but to guide interactions with precision. Influence doesn't require confrontation. It begins when you align your actions with their psychology. For example, if someone fears being overlooked, you don't criticize them in public. You withdraw attention subtly and let them chase it. If they crave control, offer choices that all lead where you want to go, so they feel in charge. Influence like this is invisible because it doesn't feel like pressure. It feels like permission. You're not forcing change. You're creating the conditions where they choose it themselves. What you're observing isn't just personality, but pattern. Who they become under stress, silence, or approval. And once you see it clearly, you're no longer reacting to people. You're positioning around them with calm, strategic intent. 7 strategic manipulations. Fast recap. 1. Reflect their desire arrow, then redirect it. People naturally trust those who mirror their wants, so the first move is simple. Reflect back what they already desire: status, admiration, safety, influence. Let them see you as someone who gets them. Then, once rapport is built, subtly link their desire to your own agenda. For example, if they crave recognition, show how supporting your idea will earn them visibility. The trick is to make your path look like theirs. That way, when they follow it, they believe it was their idea all along. 2. Share a small flaw. Vulnerability, even when staged, can disarm others. When you share a minor flaw, something believable but not damaging, you make others feel stronger, wiser, and needed. Say something like, "I get overwhelmed with details sometimes." This lowers their defenses and raises their sense of competence. When people feel more capable than you, they drop their guard and often share more than they realize. 3. Half-truth. Full confession. People are more willing to reveal personal truths when they think you've already done the same. So offer a sliver of vulnerability, a carefully chosen half-truth. Maybe say, "I've had trust issues in the past." It sounds personal, but it's safe. In return, they're likely to open up with something more raw, more revealing. You gave a puzzle piece. They hand you the whole map. 4. Let them define themselves. Ask subtle questions that invite people to reveal how they want to be seen. What matters most to you in a team? Or, how would you describe your work ethic? When they answer, they're handing you their self-image. Use that identity to frame future requests. If they say, "I'm the type who values loyalty," later say, "I know I can count on you for this. You're always loyal." Now they feel compelled to act in line with their chosen image. 5. Create a reputation for them. Tell them something positive about themselves before they've earned it. "You're always so level-headed," or "You're someone people trust." This establishes an identity they'll want to maintain, especially if others are listening. They become psychologically tied to living up to that image, even if it wasn't originally true. You've created a role for them, and most people hate breaking character once it's public. 6. Leak. Just enough. People love to feel like they're discovering something on their own. So rather than declare your strengths or intentions, let them overhear or pick up on subtle cues. Mention casually how you once turned down a shady deal. Or let them hear someone else praise your standards. These leaks feel authentic, and they adjust their behavior based on what they think they uncovered. 7. Let them win early. Give them a sense of ownership early in the process. Let them think their opinion changed the course of a project, or that their idea shaped the plan. People protect what they help build, and if they believe they had a hand in your success, they'll defend it, because they think it's theirs too. Final warning: don't let insight turn into ice. The better you get at reading people, the easier it becomes to detach from them. You stop relating, you stop empathizing. You see through smiles, decode motives, predict reactions, and somewhere along the way, you forget to feel. What began as awareness turns into control. What started as clarity turns into cold calculation. This ability, so sharp, so precise, isn't just a tool, it's a blade. And if you wield it without caution, it can cut both others and yourself. So use it wisely. Read people, but don't forget they're human. Understand them, but don't use that understanding to hollow them out. Master the game, but know when to stop playing. Because if you don't, you won't just lose connection with others. You'll lose yourself in the process. Conclusion. Real power doesn't come from uncovering someone's secret. It comes from knowing how to hold it, quietly, precisely, without ever revealing that you saw through them at all. Influence isn't loud, it's subtle, it's patient, it's invisible, and the ones who master it don't need to control others, because they already control the outcome. If you found value in this kind of insight, and you're ready to see the world more clearly, not just people, but patterns, power, and psychology, then subscribe for more. Stay sharp, stay quiet, and play the game better than they ever saw coming.